Then the Deputy Prime Minister, David Lammy, disgracefully claimed Nigel Farage had flirted with Hitler Youth, a lie that Farage has told me today was utterly vile.
Parliament erupts as Nigel Farage and David Lammy clash in heated exchange. You're not going to believe what just went down in Parliament today. What started as a fairly routine debate suddenly turned into one of the most explosive clashes we've seen in months. Nigel Farage, the ever-controversial figure who never shies away from confrontation, locked horns with Labour's David Lammy. And within minutes, the chamber was in uproar. Shouts, interruptions, back-and-forth arguments. It was raw, it was unfiltered, and it left the Speaker of the House desperately calling for order. This wasn't just politics as usual. This was personal, and it was heated. The moment kicked off during a debate on Britain's immigration policy, a topic that always sparks fireworks. Farage, in his trademark fiery style, argued that the government had failed to regain control after Brexit. He insisted Britain needed what he called a radical reset, accusing both Conservatives and Labour of dodging the real issues. David Lammy immediately fired back. Lammy, who's known for his passionate defence of multicultural Britain, accused Farage of scaremongering and trying to stoke division for political gain. That's when things went nuclear. Farage cut across Lammy mid-sentence, and with a sharp retort, he flipped the chamber. Supporters of Farage cheered, while Labour MPs erupted in protest. The Speaker stood up, demanding both sides calm down. But the damage was done. This was no longer a calm parliamentary debate. It was a political showdown with millions already reacting online. Immigration isn't just another policy issue in Britain. It's a fault line. For years, it's divided parties, split communities, and even defined elections. Nigel Farage built his political career on the issue from the early days of UKIP to his central role in the Brexit campaign. He thrives on moments like these, where his blunt words spark outrage but also rally support. David Lammy, meanwhile, has positioned himself as a counterweight, a voice defending diversity, tolerance, and inclusion. For his supporters, he speaks truth to power against what they see as Farage's hardline politics. So when these two collided on the Parliament floor, it wasn't just a personal spat. It was the embodiment of Britain's political divide, live, unfiltered, and impossible to ignore. The clash sent ripples through Westminster and beyond. One Conservative MP was overheard saying, "This is exactly what we don't need right now, division on display for the world to see." Labour insiders quickly moved to defend Lammy, saying he had every right to challenge what they called Farage's inflammatory language. But Farage's allies celebrated the moment. One senior aide reportedly told a journalist, "Nigel owned that chamber today. Lammy never stood a chance." And the public completely split. On Twitter, one user posted, "Farage just embarrassed Lammy in Parliament, finally someone telling it straight." Another wrote, "That was shameful. Farage doesn't debate, he bullies. Lammy was right to stand his ground." It's the same division we've seen time and again, Farage as the disruptor, Lammy as the defender, and a public torn down the middle. Why does this matter beyond just one heated exchange? Because moments like these shape the political narrative. When Parliament erupts, when clips go viral, when debates turn personal, they set the tone for the weeks ahead. Farage knows that. He thrives on it. His entire strategy is to dominate the conversation, even if it means provoking outrage. Lammy knows it too. By pushing back forcefully, he positions himself as the moral counterweight. And for the average voter, watching from home, the question becomes, who looked stronger, who looked smarter, who spoke for me? That's the battle, not the debate on policy, but the battle for perception. Already, journalists are asking, will this clash reframe the immigration debate yet again? Will Farage's blunt attack force the Conservatives to harden their position just to keep hold of voters drifting right? Will Lammy's fiery defense rally Labour's base and strengthen his own standing as a future leader? Or will the public grow tired of the constant shouting matches, demanding real solutions instead of soundbites? Nobody knows. But what's certain is that this moment will replay on every news broadcast, every highlight reel, and every political podcast for days to come. So here's where we leave it tonight. Parliament erupted. Farage and Lammy clashed. The Speaker lost control. But beyond the shouting, the bigger question is this. Was this just political theater or the opening scene in the next big chapter of Britain's immigration battle? Because if today showed us anything, It's that the fight over Britain's future isn't calming down anytime soon. In fact, it may have only just begun.